So, introduction phase begins as I, which I'm not a host apparently, Markovas, the DJ of this, whatever this type of thing we're doing. Is it a podcast?
I don't know. We'll see when we get there.
So we've got Smail on the other end, and he just said, we'll see when we get there, therefore I'm not sure what this is. But, let's get into it. There's no turning back. The moment you turn back is the moment your electricity fails. What?
Huh? I don't know, just sitting here watching this strange monkey waving his arms around, shouting and yelling.
I mean, if you yell loud enough, you can get on top of the highest tree.
With all the other monkeys, yeah.
Okay, so today, since we've been making a lot of videos for HOVR, and it's a good idea to possibly just talk about it, we did Benrey's return, you remember that? I don't know if many of you know that, but Smail made most of these sweet and tasty animations you've been so longingly been watching all the time. And Benrey's return was one of the classics. You remember how you did that?
Yes. Well, the main idea was to try and create something which I hadn't really seen much of. This absence of Gordon Freeman between Half-Life 1 and 2. There hasn't, as far as I've seen, really been much in the way of explanation to where he's been, only that he's been in stasis. But what is this stasis? What does it look like? How does it function?
Well, you're talking about Gordon Freeman, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And what are the rules there, since he doesn't appear to age between Half-Life 1 and 2, and yet Alex Vance ages from a baby to in her 20s. So there came the idea of this void place, this, well, what it is exactly, we're not sure yet.
We're not sure yet, but Gordon Freeman is in there. Okay, we know that. It's a strange void place, but what's Benrey, of all people, doing there? I mean, he was killed off, right? Well, as we remember, we've seen that from the VR videos. He's pretty much dead.
We saw Benrey dead, yes, but is it exactly Benrey that we saw recovered? Since where did this Benrey come from? Came from a game cartridge, from a floppy disk. Dr. Kuma himself, in his final speech, suggested making a backup of the game and the content so that the science team could be taken with them. But
yeah, but the science team doesn't really include Benrey, does it?
No, but Benrey is a part of the Half-Life game. The backup was the Half-Life game.
Yeah, Benrey is in a way, I could say derivation, but just let's say...
I'd say an anomaly.
An anomaly that has occurred in a security guard. Hey, Gordon. Grab some beer, bro. And then he change into this morphed... He's like a... I don't want to say it, but he's between an Otis and a security guard, but less fat.
How is he like an Otis?
All Otis thinks about is food. All Benrey thinks about is just getting over with his shift and going to play video games and, as all do, drink soda. The thing is, I'm not sure if they have disposable soda machines everywhere around the dormitories. Does he even live in a dormitory? I mean, where do the security guards live? They just work every day?
Would they live with the science team in the same kind of areas? In the same dormitories as where they stay? Either that or, yeah, they're just up all night patrolling.
And where do they sleep? In closets?
Well, I guess since they started giving out those special donuts from the Freeman UFO video, I don't think the science team need to sleep much more.
They don't talk about the donuts anymore.
Yeah.
I guess this is more interesting of a question. Where do the security guards sleep?
Do we ever see where the Half-Life scientists sleep?
No, but it's...
Wait,
maybe. No. We never actually see where they live. Huh.
The whole place is underground and somewhere deep in the desert.
Yeah.
Kind of a long trek to go there and back every day. So therefore, somewhere in the facility.
So sure, we have dormitories for security guards and scientists. And so Benrey, he just wants to get over with his shift. As we know, I guess he's trapped as well. Everyone is trapped in Black Mesa.
Sure.
I mean, why would you be able to leave?
Even the higher-ups are trapped since the even larger government bodies want to maintain security. Yeah, everyone who's in Black Mesa is kind of trapped there.
But yet again, why do we think that Benrey at Zen is not Benrey from Black Mesa? I hold the theory that they never left Black Mesa. None of them. Just Gordon. Gordon managed to leave Black Mesa, and the teleporter just failed. It utterly destroyed itself, caved in, boof. Not Freeman, you fool! The scientists shouted, Freeman, you fool, and Gordon got through the teleport, and that was it. And the science team was left stranded. And that's where Benrey's return comes in. That's where Gordon manages to revive. Because the game has ended.
But what about the science team? Because they're quite obviously still visible from inside Zen at the end.
Could they not be just the same as Benrey?
Well, what is Benrey if this is Benrey is not Benrey?
It's Gordon's trauma. He's been experiencing a lot of stressful endeavors as he's been traveling through the Black Mesa transit system and beyond.
So you're saying Gordon has lost his mind and now he's hallucinating?
Definitely he's lost his mind. Wouldn't you lose your mind? You lose your hand. You get attacked by clones. You get attacked by creepy alien things. I'd lose my mind 20 times over.
So by this argument, the entirety of Half-Life 2 is also a hallucination? Since if Zen is a hallucination, then...
No, Zen is not a hallucination.
But if he's hallucinating these specific people, then surely G-Man is a hallucination, and therefore the stasis is a hallucination. And then by extension, all of Half-Life 2 is also hallucinated.
Sure, we can take the easy route and say, yes, that's true, but the science team helps Gordon defeat Benrey.
But they're not, they're hallucinations.
In the hallucination period, he's been helped by the science team trying to defeat Benrey the security guard. They're trying to fight him, since he's been traumatizing Gordon all this time, and Gordon sees the science team as his last resort to defeat the trauma. But he doesn't really defeat Benrey, he just fights against Nihilanth, the big baby boss. So the hallucination is the science team and Benrey, and everything else is real, but he doesn't see it as real because he's hallucinating. So he's been alone all this time through Zen, and everything else, and in between, has been real apart from the science team and Benrey. Because they never left Earth. They never left Black Mesa. Does that make any sense?
Of course, but then what becomes of Benrey and the science team in reality? Trapped.
They're trapped.
And killed by either... not Combine.
Well, the Black Mesa actually is nuked.
So they're all nuked and killed. Including Tommy?
That's what we don't know. What happens with Tommy? Because it's not a hallucination that he's the rubby shoulders with G-Man.
The son.
Yeah. So what if G-Man stops them from dying in Black Mesa?
Why would he care?
Because she just got Tommy out and everyone else was just...
Then why would he put them back? Why would G-Man want to pester himself with these ridiculous basic AI which have...
He never cared, he just froze that sector in time to get Tommy out.
But then why do they appear to have some kind of connection to this floppy disk?
Because it's a connection to the Stasis world.
But Gordon's in the Stasis world already.
Yeah, that's how Benrey's return happens.
But it's a connection to a place that it's already a connection to.
What?
You're saying that it's a connection to the Stasis world, and yet they're in the Stasis world, so it's a connection to where they already are?
They're not exactly in it, as you'd think they are, because he has frozen a part of that world, and that world is outside the Stasis world.
Couldn't it be that by frozen it's actually a digital copy, which he has which he has saved exactly into this particular floppy disk?
Well, we don't have to get bogged down in the details. I just mean that, sure, we can just say the information is in the floppy disk, but isn't the floppy disk a connection to that part of the world which G-Man made connection with as to get Tommy out so he wouldn't get nuked?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, so they're kind of stuck, and Benrey's been there with them, and Gordon managed to get out Benrey.
Accidentally.
Accidentally. But why would he want to get out Benrey? He's the worst person in the world for Gordon.
Even if he's not a Ninalath god thing, he's still the worst person.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then doesn't the question come how exactly he was revived? We saw the computer tried to recover him. It said that the file was corrupted or damaged or something.
We know that Benrey has some kind of powers.
Sure, we still see him surviving being shot at repeatedly. And I think he teleported at some occasions and other things like that.
So why would the floppy disk be able to bring him to the stasis world?
I guess we could argue that the computer itself is special. That seeing as, like everything here, it's been placed by G-Man, the computer also was placed by G-Man. And since the G-Man has perhaps a more superficial understanding of our reality, he over-expects what the computer is actually able to do. I see it as not entirely likely he really knows how they work or what they do. He just sees that people have them.
But why does Gordon have the floppy disk anyway? That's an interesting one. It's like he has games, and yet he has this floppy disk which has this ability to connect to the Half-Life world. Thing is, Benrey's had some powers, but why would he have any in this world? Wouldn't he be stripped of everything? Was he thinking of playing a game, or did this floppy disk belong to Black Mesa, which they called Half-Life? And it contained information about Black Mesa, which managed to create this connection to the, let's call it, border world, which Benrey managed to connect to. It's like a connection to Black Mesa, because it is from Black Mesa, this floppy disk. So all in all, we can just agree to that Benrey's return was a circumstance of luck, and yet
luck brought on by a situation that was perhaps misunderstood by all of us initially, thinking the appearance of this Benrey Ninalath as being the true form himself, when in reality it was perhaps just a projection of Gordon, with the real Benrey left behind and still perhaps alive. Maybe even saved with the science team by G-Man.
G-Man, who actually didn't want to save anybody but Tommy, and yet he didn't care enough to not unsave them. It's like, who are they? Just the tiny little ants. And potentially that could be called Benrey's return, as, in a way, he never died, he never left Earth, and he's now back to the... He now has the opportunity to escape, and yet he is as stuck as Gordon is in this realm of white and black. Hope this has been entertaining enough, and you should share what you think, because that's all beneficial to every one of us. And if you like this, listening to Markovas and Smail talk about stuff, we can do more, and we'll probably do more, until Willy Wonka says otherwise about that chocolate.